Hey there, it's Boots Owen here. This is an Indesit Innex. Never seen one of these before. XWA 71451, 1 to 7 kilo load, 1400 spin. Relatively modern, but could still be maybe 10 years old. We might find out if we have a look at it. This is an autopsy video. Somebody might know how old it is from this code here, although I might be able to guess as well. Serial number. No, I'm not great at that. Merloni Indesit. It's got an issue, big issue, huge issue. That drum doesn't turn at all. That's the long and the short of it. The other issue is it's got rust bubbling up here. I don't know if you can see that, but so there's an area just there that's all bubbly, and that's got rust. It's dirty, it's been left outside. I found it on the street, as usual. It was left outside, it's got dirt on it, but that's not a big deal. You could clean it up, and that rust wouldn't bother me, but for the fact that the drum doesn't turn. So, from the back, if I hike it along, around the back, there's a few things that we can see. Let's put that in there, out of the way. The first thing I noticed was the belt had come off, which is strange. For a seized tub, the belt's kind of irrelevant. But it had come off. I turned it upside down to check that. And then I took this back panel off and I noticed that it's got some chocolate sauce here coming down from here. And I wondered, at first I wondered, was it a broken spider? But now I suspect it's a seized bearing, which is quite a rare complaint in a machine. So what I'm going to do is take the top screws off and have a look. Here's the panel on the back. Now you might be able to see that better than me. And that might be helpful. 10 amps, 1400 spin. There's a load of codes along the bottom there, and somebody will just look at that and know what year it was. I don't. So normally there's a date code on some of the plastics inside. So I'll get the top off and return. 2 screws to get the top off. Pull it back. Lift it up. And we're in. And I can tell straight away the control panel is not here. This is an interface board with a 5-wire connection down to a control board down below. I think it's a brushed motor. Can't tell from there. I need to see the other side of it. From the number of wires, I think it's a universal motor. But let's see up here. There's a code there. I just made it filthy. It could be 6th of the 6th 16. I don't know if that's right. There's the code over here. 14. 11th 14. 15th of November 2014 on that pressure switch. 25th of the 11th 2014 is written there as well. 2014 makes it 7 years old. 7 years old. It's not very old. It's sad, isn't it? The bearings on that are absolutely knackered. So with the belt off anyways, that was what I wanted to go around the back for. I'm going to try and manually twist it off and see if I can free up the bearings. I should have pointed out as well, it's got a sealed tub, which is a pain because it means you can't do the bearings if that's the issue, which it is. The other thing I noticed straight away, even before I did anything with it, was there's a huge gap here between the rubber and the metal rim there. And I wondered, is that an issue where something's gone down and gotten stuck underneath? And it could well be. But let me just try and get my hands in, grab some of these. Oh, yeah, okay, we're turning a bit there. It's like it's going over speed bumps. You can't see that, but I can feel it. You can hear it, can you? I think so. That's awful. It's just awful. So what am I going to do with this one? I think the thing to do is just to take it apart and get the metal drum out of it to sell it as a fire pit, and then scrap the rest. I'm sure there's parts in it that are valuable to somebody, but not me. It's not my fun to put them up on eBay or that. So what I might do is just strip it out, cut the cable out of it, get the motor out of it, recycle the rest of it, plastics and whatnot. It's quite modern. I like this style of thing over here where they've put the solenoids straight on here so you don't have hoses. It's a good idea. Ballast here and ballast down below. Stupid old bearings though. It's weird, you don't feel play in them. I don't feel any play in them, or do I? Oh, hold on. Yeah, I do. Look at that. Can you see that? Down here? It's hard to see. I'll do it from above. It's moving up and down about 10 mil. It's beyond bad. I wonder if I put the belt back on and hot wire it up now, will we be able to see if it spins? Because that's always something fun to do. Let's give that a go. I thought I'd put the belt back on before I start tinkering with the motor. Have a look at this, right? So, it sounds awful. Watch the tracking of the belt. It's on the outermost thing here, but it's already half fallen off on the inside there. It's not even hanging on, so if I do it the other way, it's staying on this time because I've got it right out of the edge on the motor. I've got the motor right out of the edge. But I think the thing has collapsed so far that it's just one little nudge away from coming off. So make sure. Oh, there it is. Yep. So I think even if I hotwire that, it ain't gonna go. It's a shame, but there we are. Worst bearings ever. I can't even give you a demo of how bad they are. That's how bad they are. Any questions or comments, leave them below. But this is a crying shame. 7-year-old machine. Presumably it didn't die overnight, but that chocolate sauce down in there, that's taken a while to mature. 7 years is not long enough for an appliance. That's not right. It's not good enough, I think. Down here there's a thing. Let's have a look if I can get it off. I don't know if I can. Anyways, it's that plastic thing there is here. It means you can connect into this board, so you get remote access if you're a service technician or something. Anyways, let's take it apart. I can't. It's a 7 kilo machine. It can't have been overloaded. Could be overloaded. I don't know. Could just be cheap parts on an Indesit. A lot of people don't like Merloni on this channel. If this is what they do, I'm inclined to agree with you. I've already taken the bolt. I've already taken the bolt out of the center here. So that'll just lift off. That's one of the incriminating bearings there, I think. Kind of drifted out of its housing somewhat, actually. I don't know what I'm doing there. Okay, I want to get this motor off. It's got a couple of 10 mil screws holding it on. This bolt driver or nut driver will do it. I'm just going to recycle all the metal parts, get the drum out to make a fire pit. I should have said that at the start. It's a sealed tub, so there's nothing we can do to repair the bearings without destroying the plastic. It's one of them. You could attempt to cut it open and then glue it back together, but I don't know why anybody would do that. Well, I do, because it's spare your machine, but Yeah, the bearings are quite cheap, probably less than 20 quid, maybe down as far as 7 depending on the model. Standard washing machine bearings, but I presume if it's got this chocolate sauce running down here that the seals are gone. So I'm not going to bother. So if you don't like that, it might not be the video for you, but if you want to see how I get in here, take it apart, to get it all split down and recycled, get the drum out, just stay tuned. Just cutting all the cables, all the wires. I presume that everything works. You may say that it's a crying shame that you're wrecking it in this fashion. And all I can do is agree with you. But I didn't wreck it. And it isn't worth fixing because it's got a bit of rust on the front. This is the element. It's held in with this nut on the back that squeezes up a rubber washer thing. Sometimes it'll come straight out, and other times it won't. If it won't, we'll just leave it till the end. But it looks like it might. So let's get a screwdriver on there. Oh dear, it's snug. That's one side, that's the other side. And so what happens is this nut here tightens this back plate against this rubber, I don't know what you call it, it's not a rubber washer, but the rubber squeezes out and you can see that little lip on it there. Makes a watertight seal. Looks bent. Don't know if it's meant to be. Anyways, let's go in the scrap. Let's get in from below, cut the cables on that motor. Chunky screwdriver again and pop that out, hit the camera tripod, but it's out. Have a look at this. Probably nothing wrong with this. Nidec. It looks a bit burnt on the, you can't see that in there, but it's a bit burnt on the commutator bar. So I might split this down and get the aluminium out of it, or I might just put it straight in as electric motors. It's worth about 2 quid in the scrapyard. Where are we? Got these cable ties. Because the wire is worth money at the moment. The cable. Down here, in here and behind, there's a circuit board. It's arguably not worth taking out, but I like to look at them and try and figure out how they work separately to videos like this. So I'm going to get a screwdriver and unscrew that, and then we'll go around the rest of the machine. It's always a tough one when it comes to things like this that, you know, it's been left out in the rain, but it's a nice machine. So should you try and fix it? Well, you can't, the way these have been designed, like I said, because of this nonsense with the bearings being sealed in position. I'll show you what I mean. It's gonna bang. That's not so bad. So there's a front piece of this plastic tub and a back piece, and they're just joined together here. And sometimes they would have screws or a clamp around them or something that you could separate them, but on this one you can't. So let's get this ballast off here. Oh, yeah, that's tight. Nope, that's not, that's going to need a spanner. Or a socket, maybe, rather than a spanner. Oh, that's very tight. This ballast is quite heavy. It's made of concrete, and there's 2 of them on this machine. One down at the front underneath the door, and this one up on top. I could have gone with a bigger socket, a bigger breaker, but I didn't. Bigger ratchet. What do you call it? One of these. few things there that were quite tight on this machine. Okay, down here, let's take off this screw. Oh dear. There we go. Over here is another one. Up on top there's a few more. That piece of tin comes off. Ooh, that piece of tin comes off. The ballast should just lift off. It does, it's heavy. It looks like there's a coat plate here. It's folded up. Oops, I've knackered that. Right. There's a thing there with a date code 2014-12-02, so December 2014. So that's when it started production, finished production. Took 3 minutes to assemble this drum. I'm guessing on line 1. That's kind of neat, isn't it? So there you go. 3 minutes to make a washing machine drum. 7 years to wreck it. It's a bit sad. Again with the wire cutters. Let's get in here. Can you see? Let's get in. Better. You won't see much for a minute. Maybe you should. See over here. So the value of this kind of wire is quite good at the moment. There won't be much out of this machine, but when you add it all together, it adds up. So I loosened off that control board earlier on, and now I'm just using brute force to pull it and the cables up. It's not the way you should do it, but if you don't care, at this point you don't care. Let's cut the cables off that and that. Various cables go into motors and inlets and pressure valves, door locks, front control panel. In no particular order, that black one and red one is the motor. 5 reds is the front control panel, and there you get a VTech board made in 1124. No, what's that mean? Can't be right. I don't know. 1124 firmware, I would say. 010124 firmware in your washing machine. Yikes. What is the world coming to? So I cut off more of these cable ties. And the last one down here, you can't see, I think, it's a door interlock. That's pretty much all the wiring loom. I don't know if I got the bit going to the pump, but it's only a tiny piece of cable. Not much weight in that. Whether it's worth doing or not is arguable. Pressure switch is here, the blue thing, but that has no real value in it. Need to take some screws out on the front now. So I'll lie it over like that. Tilt you up. Soap drawer. Press that grey thing in the back there to let it out. And there's normally a couple of screws in this case, yeah. Sometimes 3, sometimes 2. Sometimes pretty rusty like this one. It just pulls off. There's a PCB there for the interactions, but it's just a few buttons on a PCB. This machine had this interesting feature where you could go straight to a push and wash cotton and synthetics not sure how that was set up, rather than the start pause button. I think you could just press go and it would go without having to think about it, which is always a disaster on something like this, I reckon. Star head again, or this one here, I think. Let's get that off that hinge. Go. That's the door off. It's just plastic and glass with a tiny bit of metal on it. Okay. This thing hopefully will just lift off, and it's got a rubber thing to join it to below. And that just, can you see that? That just has a basically a rubber hook, which I kind of like as a way of holding it on. So it just has, there's washing powder in it. Oh, it's gone everywhere. That's all plastic. You just slide the hose up and then it's got a hook to hook it on. That's kind of neat. In here, with a small screwdriver, I can see the spring. If I can get to that, that makes my life a bit quicker. Yeah, I think I might be able to. There's a spring some of the way around for this rubber door seal. And by popping that off from here, it might save me work later on, because I don't have to take off the front and stuff, perhaps. I don't know yet. I won't know until I get in there. So, pressure hose, it's just snapped off, that's good. The drain hose will still be connected, but that might do it. The other thing to cut is the power cord on the back, because that is also a valuable cord. There we go. Now, if I lie this down, like that, I might be able to break the shock absorbers to get it out. Save me the bother of dealing with it. Let's get this spring out up here. It's kind of difficult because, there we go, it's one, the other one's just come off by itself. They're obviously steel, obviously nothing, they are steel. If it was obvious, probably wouldn't have to tell you. So this should just lift out, I say, though I know it's still connected beneath. Yeah, it's coming. So what's holding it then is a rubber hose. And the way to deal with that is with the pliers again, with the wire cutters. Just cut that off. That's that. That's it all disconnected then. It just slid off the shocks whenever I took it apart there. That's it. Separate it. Oops. And we've got this thing with a great lump of concrete on the bottom. It's got a Torx bit, which is helpful. 30? Nope. 40. 40 bit. too tight. I don't know actually that I need to take this off, you know. Depends on how, oops. Depends on how I want to get in here, because I could, in theory, just smash this off. But really all I want to do is split the plastic. And the fastest way to do that is with a hammer. Oh dear. This ball bearing just appeared from somewhere. That's from my socket. It's quite weird. Okay, that's got to go in here. I think it's because I'm using the rubber gloves. It's got to go in there. Snap this snap ring over, twist it around, and that's back together again. I've saved that for now. That's good. Again, this one here. You can see, not yet actually. Don't know why you can't see how bad that is. Let's have a look at that drum once I get this off. And this one down here. These are all remarkably tight for plastic, and I wonder if they're kind of over tightened or if the holes are too small or something on this one. Merloni, I don't know what that is. What's going on there? Of course I could use a longer ratchet. There we go, that's off. Now, somewhere here, that's the seal along the edge there. I just need to break that off somehow. Now, look at this. That should not do that. I can't wait to see what that bearing's like in there, because it's not right. That's for sure. Hammer. Let's try a hammer. Safety glasses on. Faster this way than doing it any other way. So I've got a crack going here and I can just propagate it around the edge. Hopefully. Half the plastic gone. More than. That really is the fastest way, I think. Here. That. Whoa, dear. That's bad. Wow, look at that. So, autopsy of a. It wasn't even running on the bearing. There's the bearing race. You can see that U shape here where the ball bearings would run in. Half of it's cracked off. That's amazing. Let's tidy up and take a closer look, but as it stands, this is your fire pit. You could try and hammer that off. If you hit it hard enough, you'll crack that aluminium. Cut it with an angle grinder. You can try and get those screws out. They're stainless steel, the screws. This isn't stainless, this is some kind of steel that doesn't rust, but not stainless. You have to get these plastic things out. I'll show you how to do that. So with a flat screwdriver, just hook it in there. This tab, bend it up. and then hammer this, push this. Oh, it's not coming, wise guy, eh? Let's put it in there, like that, so you can see. That's it, just hit it a blast and then tap that back in. Yeah, so you can cut these off with an angle grinder, or you can just accept that that's where it is and prop it up on blocks. Just put it up on 3 bricks, raise it up a little bit. I like doing it that way because it saves getting this piece of steel off the center. Steel in aluminium, other steel, stainless steel, but the stainless steel anyway, those bolts, they can be very difficult to get out. I'll give it a go because I'm here. I'm not making any promises. The Torx bits are out already. T30. Oh no, T40 again. Okay. Oh, remarkable. I have never seen him that easy. Wow, okay. Well, there you go. That's quite bizarre. I've never seen him so easy. Let's try this one. Yeah, great. It's easier than the plastic ones. Normally, the stainless somehow locks itself in there. That's great. Okay, that's really good. Screwdriver. Pop this guy out. Or in my case, push it in so far. Too far. Last one. Yeah, wow, okay. Well, I'll get that off in a sec. Let's try and hook this one out too. Without the same show of nonsense. Tappy tap, tappy tap. Gone. Great. I've never seen, and I've done a few of these, I've never seen those screws come out so easy, so it is worth giving it a go. There's probably some effect where you give up on it. Those paddles, give up trying because you know it didn't work last time. Now, this can be hard. These are kind of snugged in place, so you might need a crowbar or a bigger screwdriver. And if you're trying to preserve it, you can dent it when you're doing this. So I've got a crowbar here as a lever. Denting the drum there. You are going to light a fire in this. So. There we go. And once you've got one, you've got them all. That's irony aluminium when you recycle it, or you can cut it up, but it's a lot of work to cut up. Right. And that is a good clean washing machine drum. I don't know where to put it. There, put it up there. So we knew the bearings were bad, but we didn't know how bad they were, and so bad, in fact, that I've never seen the likes of it. But here, as the final bit of this autopsy video, is the shaft. That's the inner bearing race. Can you see that? It should be up here near the brass. It's got a big chunk taken out the side of it. I found a couple of the bearings, but I've got one handy. Like, that's not even spherical. It's got big bits taken out of it too. It's crazy. So it's going to just have a go at trying to get in here. That's the water seal. Good luck. Good luck with that. And that's the bearing race. That is one of the ZZ metal shields. This is the other metal shield. This is one of the ball cages, one side of it. The other side is fallen down in here. And the last bit that I can see That's a bit of the ball race. Now, I've never seen a ball race that looks like the inner ball race again, broken up. I'm gonna try a bit of tappy tap tap to get this fella out. That's the outer ball bearing, and it's working like a sprag bearing. It's completely knackered. I've done the dents in it, I'd say. Completely rusty, completely knackered. The outer race there, or the inner ball bearing outer race, looks like it should. It's got a groove in it as usual. So I wonder, is the failure mechanism that the ball bearings completely failed? Like, look at that. Can you see? You can see that. The side's fallen off the race. The balls could just escape and rattle around. That is a product failure. That's not... There's the rest of the balls. Here we are. Wow. They're like a mad mix of bits. That is a product failure. Look at those, like they're completely shot clean half in two. Bits of race, more bits of race. No, that's rubber, is it? Yeah, that's just rubber. There's the broken off piece of ball race that let the balls escape. The fact that they're not shiny anymore is probably a product of this, but you know, if that had happened and we'd gotten to this stage ourselves, this is a failure of the bearing. That's a machine failure. Now, somebody commented, I'm sorry I don't know what the name was, but if you look in the comments for a recent video, somebody commented that these machines, it was actually on the one for the induction hob, I think. Machines are meant to last 6 or 7 years in Europe now. And that's been a rule for a while. That's not the new rule about being repairable and that kind of stuff. So if the issue is with the product, the manufacturer or the person who sold it to you should give you a replacement, maybe just a replacement part. And so there's all sorts of variability, vagaries about the law there, but it is what it is. If it's broke like this, you got a new machine. While we're here, you can see it best from up here, part of this autopsy. The cheese grater. Cheese grated off a load of grooves on the side there. It also made a big groove all the way around the back there, melting that plastic all the way around the back at the bottom. And the only place I've seen that before, I think, was in an LG or a Samsung with the direct drive motor built on the back, where it had worn the whole way through and the water was leaking out over the contacts for the element at the bottom. But I don't think that's happened in this case. What a disaster of a machine. That was some autopsy. I've never seen one go as bad as this. And something so simple. It's a £5 part. Genuinely, like, you can buy them on eBay, £5. But I don't know if it broke and then fell apart, or if it wore out and then broke. You'll never know. I guess the person who had it would know if it got louder and louder and louder and then bang. What do you think? Tell me in the comments. I'm quite pleased with that. That was quite an interesting video. Quite an interesting one to make. Something broke outside. Questions or comments, leave them below. Thanks for watching. See you later.